Are silenced. Mayor Hendricks will not be with us this evening, so I will be conducting the meeting. At this time, we'll call to order the commission meeting for Tuesday, March the 12th. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Edwards. Present. Commissioner Van Oster.
Here.
Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Here.
Commissioner Maples.
Here.
At this time, if you would please stand for the invocation be given by Reverend Melvin Simpson of the First Church of God in Christ, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we bow? Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, God, we thank you, God, for all your many blessings. God, we realize it's you that control everything. And tonight, Lord Jesus, we ask you to put your blessing upon us, each and every one of us. Bless our city, Lord. Bless the citizens. Keep us, God, that's in our will. Let this be done decent and order. And we thank you, God, for all your many blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the review of tonight's agenda. Any additions? No, we did get an email update. All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. First of all, the City Commission meeting minutes of Tuesday, February 27th. Were there any additions or corrections? There being none, they're approved as presented. Number 2, action to appoint Steve Pratt as director. Number 2, and Amy Taylor as alternate to the KMEA Board of Directors, serving to April 30th, 2026. I trust everyone had an opportunity to read that information and their duties and responsibilities. Any questions?
No. Melissa, do you have anything to say?
No, these are just our appointments. It is required to have a director, or I'm sorry, 2 directors and 1 alternate. The director 1 is actually being filled by Tony Lawson right now, and that expires April 30th, 2025. So this is just to appoint director 2 and alternate.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks
All
for
right.
explaining that.
No objections, that's approved. Yeah. Number 3, action to approve change order number 1 for electric switchgear and associated equipment for the North Industrial Park substation in the amount of $9,695 for the City of Coffeyville Electric Utility. Were there any questions there? All right.
Kevin's here. Do you have anything you want to say, Kevin, about that?
No, this is just a change to go to a bigger transformer. We realized during the building phase that we're going to need a bigger transformer for the heat and air conditioning within that building.
I was surprised half of the cost was the new box.
Yeah, one of the bigger
Oh, yeah.
transformer needs a new enclosure, so.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thank you. Number 4, 2024 Appropriation Ordinance AO-24-05 in the amount of $1,244,171.42. May we have some highlights, please?
Yep. Few highlights on that. We have Acton Communications for $13,388.76. We have Asplund Tree Service that's tree trimming for $10,646.70. We have Commercial Bank, that's another payment on our fire truck for $30,023.18. We have Flock Group for the license plate reader for $6,198.63. We have Meriton Health for health insurance and life insurance in the amount of $41,292.99. Motorola Solutions for a video system in the amount of $38,762.40. That's a WatchGuard video system. Let's see here. We have Switchgear Power Systems for switchgear package of $409,530, and Technobus bus bar assembly for $23,647.44. We have Wärtsilä North America for equipment maintenance in the amount of $55,916.73. And our payroll this time in the amount of $403,683.57.
Thank you. Item number 5 is 2024 appropriation ordinance AO-24-05A, 2023 dental and health claims in the amount of $226,800.74. Any discussion on that? All right. Then do I hear a motion to approve items 1 through 5 of the consent agenda as presented?
I will move to approve items 1 through 5 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Maples to approve items 1 through 5 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Next item on the agenda is comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name, and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. Commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. Commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Eric Britz, residence at 704 Spruce. Wanted to ask a few questions about the grants for downtown businesses. We became aware of those, I'd say last spring, and haven't heard much more about it. We did apply for one. We put heat and air in our building on 8th Street, and we were denied because I did the work. And I'm curious as to why my work's not good enough to get the grant, but somebody else is.
Okay, could we have some details on what you went through as far as installation equipment?
Yeah, just a complete install. 2 80,000 BTU furnaces, 2 2.5 ton air conditioners, ductwork, everything.
So Eric, you applied for the grant and
I called and asked, and the first question was, who did the work? And I said, we did. And it was an immediate, well, then you don't qualify. And, you know, we saved easily $7,000 doing it ourselves. You know, we're a small business downtown Coffeyville. If you can save $7,000, that's a pretty big deal. So it would have actually cost us money to go the correct route, as your paperwork is going to say, that we didn't hire the licensed contractor.
when did you do it?
June
June of 23.
23.
Okay. So let me look into it. I don't know the answer to that, but I'll find out.
Okay. It's kind of been a sore spot, I guess, since we bought the building. With the previous crew, no disrespect towards you all or them, but when we bought the building, we explained that we're going to do most of the work ourselves. That's how we do things. And that was met with, you know, that's great, that's what we like to hear. And then we get told we can't do any of the work. Shortly thereafter, Bob York notified us that if we had insurance and had permits, we could do the work. So we applied for a permit, put in 3-phase electricity, Was pretty nervous as to how that was gonna go. And Bruce, I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name, with the electric company that actually installed the meter, did the inspection, and we had everything passed. There was nothing wrong. So it ain't like we're cobbling stuff up here. We do it ourselves.
So Thomas, do you know on our current grant for economic development, what the requirements are?
So part of the grant, which is general for most things, is a requirement for licensed contractors to do the work. This is to make sure it's done correctly, as well as to spur local businesses, hopefully using local contractors to perform said work. That's kind of been a subject of contention throughout, is simply because of, you have a lot of contractors are there. Why are you letting licensed people do commercial work? That's been something that we've worked on for years, because it is by statutes and regulations, if it's a commercial structure, it's supposed to have licensed masters do the work, do the inspection, or perform the work, and then it's inspected by us. So that's, some of these buildings that cost a lot, we put in a option to do your own work. There is a do your own work permit requirement, and basically we inspect even more stringently. We will pop in on the job site, not a scheduled inspection. We'll just show up, look at stuff, try to make sure that, make sure no corners are cut. Not saying anybody's cutting corners, this is what we do, because we want to make sure that they can be able to try to perform that work, but we still have the same safety requirements for citizens and anybody that were to potentially buy that building in the future, or just go in the building as a retail store or whatever is going on at that point, so for the safety of citizens.
If I may, I'm thinking of an analogy here, maybe a poor analogy, but an individual who graduates from a medical school and gets a MD degree, and an individual who graduates from a medical college of osteopathy and becomes a DO. Both of those, both with the MD and the DO, are both required to pass the state licensing requirements before they can begin practice. And they're both called doctor. So if I could go back to a licensed contractor or an individual doing their own work, and then the city comes in and does the inspection, and by your own admission is even more stringent on the person who's doing the work themselves, what's the difference in the outcome at the end? If the city inspects and you're going for the same standards, then why can't the person who does the work themselves be granted that same policy?
If the commission wishes to change it, we can change it. That was what was put in, was that it was required to have licensed work. The city does, in these essence, we are taking risks to allow that, because it is technically state statute that you pass and hold a master's for all these things before, if you're going to work on commercial equipment.
And it's a statute that we passed.
It is the state's
It's a
regulation.
state statute.
State statute.
State statute. So we are deviating from said statute. We do take
Now,
a
if it's
little bit of a
economic
risk.
development money from a sales tax, though, don't we have the,
So that's what I'm saying. If the city commission
Yeah.
so wishes, we can change it. But as part of setting up that grant, we stated that it had to be licensed, contractors licensed
Okay,
to do
the
work.
person the city inspector who's doing the inspection, does that person possess the same or equal qualifications as the
We have
licensed contractor who did the
We have
work?
ICC certified inspectors, as well as journeymen and master electricians on staff.
Oh, great. So the city inspector is also certified.
Yes.
well, let us
All
work on it and see if we can come up with a resolution that
Really,
makes
that-
sense.
If you would, take a look at that.
If that's something that the city wants to do, because like I said, we have, all you guys had to do is say, yes, we want to extend that grant, that as long as it's being done properly and to the extent that it would be for any license is properly inspected, properly permitted, just like we have said in the past to allow them to do their own work, we are more than happy to.
But Thomas, one
backdate
question
that.
I have, on a grant, we got to meet the requirements of the grant provider.
We wrote those requirements. That's 100% sales tax,
Okay.
city sales tax. We control
That was
those
my
requirements.
point, is
Yes.
if it's sales tax,
So,
we
yes.
ought to have the
So
flexibility.
yes, we can
Okay.
if it's so choose, but it was not. the
Well,
way it
listen,
was
we'll
done.
come up with some language, bring it to the next meeting, and, you know, as much work as needs to be done downtown, I don't want to discourage anything from getting
Right.
done. So as long as we're confident it'll be done correctly, and I think Thomas and his team have done a good job, then, you know, I think we ought to come up with language that makes sense for the citizens of Coffeyville and the city of Coffeyville, so,
It would help, we would,
yeah.
we get a little reputation of being a little more business-friendly by doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Good
All right.
recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Eric, if you want to call me tomorrow, let me see if there's anything I can do, all right? My cell phone number's on that card. All right, thank you.
I know.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? All right, there being none, we'll go on to the regular agenda items. Next item is public hearings, special presentations, and proclamations. I believe we do not have any, is that correct? All right. Then, do we have any old business to clear up? None? All right. Under new business, Resolution R-24-10, a resolution to enter into an agreement with Utility Services for NERC reliability operation and planning, maintenance, and support services for the Coffeyville Electric Utility. And Utility Compliance Manager Kevin Mersberg will make comments. Kevin?
Vice Mayor, Commissioners, what I have is a proposal for your consideration to enter into an agreement with Utility Services for NERC reliability, operation, and planning, maintenance, and support. The electric department, as you know, we've lost our director, and previous to that, we had lost our NERC compliance officer in Donna Onslager, and we recently got the last NERC compliance officer back. Along that, there hasn't been a lot of training within that position. Utility Services is currently working with us, performing studies determining deficiencies or changes within our NERC filings. And this will allow us, or will allow Utility Services to continue services to provide maintenance and training for the NERC reliability program required in the NERC reliability standards, which will allow them to work with me and train me through the process. I believe you all seen the proposed scope of work. It will allow city staff to continue working with Utility Services to gain advanced knowledge in the NERC program. Staff is recommending that the mayor be authorized to enter a new agreement with Utility Services for up to 22 months to provide NERC reliability standards, support, and guidance. Be happy to try and answer any questions.
All right.
22 months, but compliance is the ante to play. If you don't get that right, you don't sell electricity. So that's something you just got to always get right, and I think it's a good investment, a wise investment.
Yeah, and I spoke with the Vice President of Utility Services today and informed him exactly what I was wanting to do with being involved in every step, and he said that will absolutely happen, so.
All right.
This is good.
Commissioners, any questions?
No?
Move to approve Resolution R-2410 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Commissioner Van Oster to approve Resolution R-24-10 as presented. Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Yes?
Commissioner Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Next item, Resolution R-24-11, a resolution to approve task order number 5 with Lochner Incorporated for design and remarking of runway 1735 at the airport. And Director of Airport Services, Jared Powers, will make comment.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners, This is a continuation of a grant that, KDOT grant that we were awarded last year for a remark and a repaint of 1735. The task order number 5 agreement is for design and engineering. This cost is 95% KDOT, 5% sponsor, not to exceed $20,000. Our sponsor share would be $1,000. Staff is recommending authorization of a task order number 5 agreement with Lochner Incorporated. Answer any questions if you have any.
Is the runway edge painted?
No,
No?
no,
It's not painted. All right, all right.
no, this is just.
So my question was it going to include that additional 25 feet that we're trying to get?
No, and so you know, we received notification that we did not get that grant for that ineligible portion, but we're going to reapply for it next year.
All right,
Awesome.
Okay, good.
good, thank you.
That's what you do. Okay.
Any discussion?
No, if there's no further questions, I will move to approve Resolution R-24-11 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Maples to approve Resolution R-24-11 as presented. Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Jared.
you.
Thank you. Next item, Resolution R-24-12, a resolution to engage the legal services of Gilmore Bell in connection with the issuance of public securities and establishment of an RHID, SB 17, for the W.T. Reed Building, 9th and Walnut, Coffeyville, Kansas. Director of Housing, Charla Brown, will make comments.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is for the consideration in improving the engagement of the services for Gilmore and Bell for the building at 9th and Walnut. Stephen Powell and David Johnson are wanting to redevelop that building. By working in partnership with Gilmore and Bell to create the RHID, the Reinvestment Housing Incentive District, and for the IRBs, it'll improve the quality of downtown commercial district by improving the exterior of the building, the demolition and renovation to create the upstairs, which is the RHID, it's just for the upstairs, and then the residential market rate apartments, downstairs retail, and it'll help prevent future code violations and blight conditions. So Gilmore and Bell, the reason why we're asking to do their services is because they'll complete all the documents, the contracts, publications, and the issuance of the private securities and the establishment of the RHID. They'll do all the paperwork for that. The city will not have any kind of cash match or anything in this at all. It's simply just like the MIH grant that we had, it's simply just pass through. That's all we do. So, once the resolution is signed for the engagement of services, Gilmore and Bell will take the housing needs assessment that the city has previously done to the Department of Commerce for the approval. Once we get the approval back, the city will establish the RHID, the district guidelines. And then Gilmore and Bell will take over, they'll file the notice, they'll have the 2 hearings, and then people can ask their questions. Gilmore and Bell will do all that to safeguard the city's interests. So I recommend approval of engagement of services with Gilmore and Bell. They've done this before with us here in the city, so I can answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
No, I have none.
Yeah, they did it on the Holiday Inn project, if you remember.
Yes.
And we're really just a conduit.
That's right. Sounds very good.
Well, if there's no questions, I move to approve Resolution R-24-12 as presented.
Second?
Motion is made by Commissioner Maples, seconded by Commissioner Edwards to approve Resolution R-24-12 as presented. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maples.
Aye. Thank you.
All right. Tied to that resolution is the next resolution, R-24-13, a resolution to engage the legal services of Gilmore Bell in connection with the issuance of public securities and establishment of a community improvement district for the Coffeyville Plaza, 1000 Hall Street, Coffeyville, Kansas. Director of Housing, Ms. Brown, make comments.
Good evening, Commissioners. How are you doing tonight? So again, this one is for Gilmore and Bell for the entire Coffeyville Plaza. Jared Commercial out of Springfield, Missouri. They do have 2 tenants that are ready to sign a 10-year lease upon approving this CID district. The CID will allow up to a 2% tax increase. It's based on how much money they need. So far, they're estimating it's 1.5 million, but it's up to 2% is all that they're going to increase. It will be posted on the outside of all the stores, and I've talked with Gilmore and Bell, and they said that any store that doesn't want to be a part of it does not have to be a part of it. Once they're in it, they can decide to go out of it as well. It's a 22-year investment, but if it's paid back earlier, then we can stop it at any time. The city will get 5% of the 2% that's collected. Again, the city will just be passed through again on this. I can answer any questions.
Commissioners? Anytime that there's an improvement to the downtown and with the possibility of bringing in additional retail, and it's not costing the city anything, that's a good proposition.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is actually on Hall Street out by
Yeah.
where the grocery store is.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank
Move
you.
to
And
approve.
that area needs help. too.
That area needs help too,
Without
the
doubt.
whole city,
Yeah.
so this is good.
Yeah, but downtown and Hall, both.
Move to approve Resolution R-24-13 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Van Oster to approve Resolution R-24-13 as presented. Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is Resolution R-24-14, a resolution to approve submission of a KDOT grant application for mill and overlay of 8th Street from Highway 166 to Elm. Director of Public Works, Thomas Osborne, will make comments.
Good evening, Mayor, or Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Mayor's not here today. This is, of course, a grant application for KDOT. KDOT, this program started, I want to say maybe 3 years ago. It's kind of a new one. We have applied for it once before, but we were trying to do a bunch of utility work for basically storm sewer along the highway with that one, which somewhat falls under, so we didn't give very many points for that one. So we're trying for this one. Of course, 8th Street is a main thoroughfare through our town for anybody that does not want to drive on the highway. There's a lot of traffic on through there. So this would get a 2-inch mill, 2-inch overlay from the kind of messed up intersection that we still need to figure out a good way to fix on the west end of town, and all the way to Elm Street, so pretty much downtown. Again, it's just a 2-inch mill and overlay. There's not really going to be any reconstruction. There's not curb and gutter, any of that type of stuff on this. We do, this is unfortunate, there is still a water line under 8th Street from Buckeye East. Largely the water line sets in what would be the more along the side of the street parking, because that's also the wider part. We are still looking to go ahead and pave that all and make it brand new street, good road, as well as we will continue to move forward looking for grants, just as we've done in the past, to try and relocate those water lines out of underneath the street as quickly as possible. Currently, the ones that we are working on in-house, we only have a couple crews, so trying to get new water lines done in-house when you have dry ground, a lot of dry weather causing the ground to move and water leaks. You don't get very far on your new construction projects when you're doing it in-house that way. So we are looking for grants, of course, to try to speed those water line replacements and relocations along. But I'd be happy to try to answer any questions for you.
Yeah, just to add to that this is a big project, and it's $1.3 million total. Our match, it's 75-25. And, we have a lot of deferred debt on roads and streets, and if you look at our current operation, we're just trying to not go backwards every year. We need to start making progress. I mean, we've gotten too far behind, too many years. And I'm going to keep bringing grants to the city commission and hope you approve every one of them. And, the city can and should have the matching funds to get these to completion. And I'm going to keep bringing them until you say no. So we just got a lot of catching up to do. And, you know, a lot of these grants require approval of the matching funds before you put the grant in. Not all of them, but some of them do. So we're trying to get approval up front because I think it helps you get approved on the grant. But you're going to see several of these, I mean, in the millions of dollars, because that's what it's going to take. I mean, it's shocking what it takes to replace 6 feet or 6 blocks of road, especially if it's concrete. But, you know, 8th Street's highly traveled. It's got lots of repairs need to be done, so I think it'd be a worthy project.
So when you submit this grant, it shows that we've already approved to match the funds. I mean,
Yep.
take our 25% to put in,
I
correct?
think this one's actually, isn't this one a 1585?
I thought it was 70. It may be 85,
Again, this one's pretty new, so I'm not,
This one's 8515, you said?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay,
We got another one that's 75.
525, okay, all right. So this is basically showing we are committed
Yes.
when we get our grant. I mean, with
Yes.
When we apply.
The
that
resolution,
we are
yeah.
on it.
And, you know, you're going to see some 90-10, some 75-25, some 85. Anytime we get 75 cents on the dollar on
That's good.
projects that are badly needed, we need to do it.
Yeah.
And we can do it.
Yeah.
Any kind of a time estimate on completion once it started?
What I did it, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. I want to say it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months?
Yeah, it largely depends on, 8th Street's pretty good as far as the base goes, but what we'll do is we'll mill off the 2 inches. We'll go back and we'll say, okay, there's base failure here, dig that out, rebase it to make sure we're not gonna cause problems, and then put the overlay on top of that. So that's the part that's gonna slow stuff down. The mill's you can mill a mile in approximately a day.
And as he said, if we can do these, and, you know, water distribution's another problem long-term. It's, well, you got a bunch of iron pipes that have been there for 100 years. And so as we can move those, to Thomas's point, that gets us way ahead there, too.
All right.
So you'll submit this for approval.
Yep.
How long does it take you usually to hear back from them if we are approved or not?
Was this the one, should be June?
Some of them are
Some
relatively
of them are
quick.
short.
Okay.
Some of them take a little
So here
longer.
within
but-
the next 4 months or something?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll hear our
So,
yeah.
conclusion.
And-
Okay.
And we'll keep you updated as to the progress of each of these grants.
Okay. All
Okay.
right, that would be great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Do you hear a motion?
I move to approve Resolution R-24-14 as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Commissioner Maples, seconded by Commissioner Van Oster to approve Resolution R-24-14 as presented. Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next is Resolution R-24-16, resolution to implement personnel memorandums
15.
of agreement with Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 35, and International Association of Firefighters.
Wait a minute, no,
We
you
skipped
skipped
15.
Item 6.
Oh, did I skip one?
Yeah,
The top
it's
one.
the top.
I did. Pardon me. Resolution R-24-15, a resolution to approve submission of a city connecting link improvement program application for the rehabilitation of 600 feet of Highway 166 near Luark Street. Director of Public Works Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again, Vice Mayor Commissioners. This the City Connecting Links program has replaced the old T-Works. It is the state's highway improvement program for cities to be able to utilize to help get our highways in better shape. So that's the South Walnut project that has just recently started. That is a City Connecting Link program as well. This one addresses the Luark intersection. Several years ago, we did some joint repair and replacement that actually went from, I believe it was Buckeye was where we started, all the way to the city limits to the west. We skipped this section simply because when you went to replace all the joints, you were replacing close to 90% of the pavement. We wanted to replace it all. KDOT said, no, you need to apply for a different grant. So we've applied for this once before. we had 3 grants in a row, so they're kind of, as that happens, they start going down the list of, okay, you've had a bunch, so we're going to let other cities and communities have those. So we are actually reapplying for this section. It is the only section on that section of 166 that has not been touched in quite a while. There are several issues. We've repaired joint blowouts right at the where the old lights were at the intersection on multiple occasions. So this just takes care of and replaces that section through there. Again, this is I believe this one is a 90-10 on the city for there's 3 options, and this one's a 90-10 for the geometric improvement.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Questions?
Oh. All those we can do.
Motion to approve?
I will move to approve Resolution R-24-15 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Edwards to approve Resolution R-24-15 as presented. Commissioner Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas.
Okay. All right. Now, Resolution R-24-16, a resolution to implement personnel memorandums of agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 35, and the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 265, effective January the 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025. Interim City Manager Tim Wilson will make comments.
Yeah, so I've been actively involved in these negotiations. These are the last 2 unions of our 4 to finish. And of course, there are 2 of our bigger unions, but I think we ended up in a great place. They were very professional, business-like meetings. We did rate surveys. Allison did a fantastic job, and I looked at, and the police negotiators did a great job, and fire negotiators. We looked at across the county, other areas of the state. So I think we had everything we needed to make the right decisions. We made some changes with within the police department to be more competitive within Montgomery County. And, that's a department that we hadn't been fully staffed for 15 years, and we've had a hard time hiring. We've had quite a bit of turnover in the first 3 years, so that with the changes we've made that we've agreed to, I think it'll go a long ways towards solving those 2 issues, but time will tell, and we will continue to report back to the commission, let you know what the impact is. But I think, we made good changes that are good for the fire and police department and great for the city. So we went from a 1-year contract to 2 years, which is good because these eat up a lot of time, both from the fire and police group as well as the city employees. So good to get this behind us, and I think it's a good, fair agreement.
Okay. Yes.
And did everyone have a chance to read
Oh,
that
yeah.
in detail?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Very good changes.
Move to approve Resolution R-24-16 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Commissioner Van Oster to approve Resolution R-24-16 as presented. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maples.
Aye.
All right. Next on the agenda, City Manager's Report.
So, want to talk a little bit. We kind of touched on roads, but you're going to see a lot of grants. We've got 8 to 10 in process. A couple have already been submitted after, I think she's been here now 3 weeks. And, we're going to get all the grants we can get. There's a lot of things that need to be done that the city can't do on their own. And right now, there's a lot of state and federal money available, especially for roads and such, any infrastructure. We're working hard on getting urban renewal type grants to help downtown. So, I think you'll see great progress there. We think we're going to get 70 to 80% of the grants we put in approved, but we'll track the number and we'll let you know how we do there. I've talked to Jay Mitchell. He's the owner of Brown Furniture Building. I've got his cell phone number. He and I talked another hour again today, so we've talked a couple hours on the phone. He's going to fly into town, and I'm really kind of working with him on the Provalis project. I think it's a great fit. He's a guy that claims to really care about the historic value of the building, And Brown's Furniture is a way more open building. I went and looked at it today, and there's not a lot of walls you got to tear down. I mean, I've been through multiple buildings for Provalis that would have required a lot of renovation. These will require a lot, but much less. So I think it's a good fit, because I think it's a good fit for the owner and Provalis. And he claims he'll put in some of his own money. The city and county are also agreeing to help there, as we did with the previous buildings we looked at. And he knows he's in a position where he's got to do it, because Paul sent a letter that got some action taken, and he knows he's got to move forward. So I'm very hopeful on that, and I'm really going to try to push that to the finish line, because I just think it's the right fit in the right place with the right company. So Martin Cummings is our new budget director. He's going to start on March 25th. He works out of Bartlesville today, but he will be coming in on the 25th, so good to get him on board.
So what was that name again?
Martin Cummings.
Cummings?
Yeah. Got good references, and, he's been in good positions in the past, so I feel good about that position. Doesn't know Encode, but I've got a consultant here that knows Encode backwards and forwards, so she's going to stay on and help train him. Met with Sharon Brown today on the 24-hour daycare center. I'm real impressed with her and that operation. I think, especially if you get a company like Provalis here, and you got, CVR, we have a lot of 24-hour workers. So it's impressive what she's done with her current operation, and she's already pretty much achieved most of the funding she needs. There's a couple of things we're going to help her potentially with grants, and like playground equipment, and they need a van. So things the city's going to help her with, but not requiring city funding. So that's kind of my update, and we're busy, but things are moving along.
Great.
Thank you. And have you applied for the position of city manager?
I have not.
Keep waiting.
That's unfortunate. We're going to keep asking.
Yeah.
All right. Comments from commissioners? Staff?
Just want to thank you, Tim, for especially working with Mr. Mitchell on the downtown. That's been a long time coming. And, because we've got several down there of those what I call anchor buildings.
Yeah, I've reached out to a few others that
Okay,
I
good.
intend to meet with. So,
Good.
we've got to force some action.
Yes.
Have
we
Paul
do.
reach out to him too.
Well, it looks like we've got some things going too with,
Paul helped.
with the Reed building there on the corner, and
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's
that's
exciting.
Well, and if
Mix
we
that
can
all
get the
together.
Browns deal done with Provalis, and people see that we've renovated a building, and that's a big building.
It
and
is.
it's
It
an
is.
impressive building. It really
It
is.
is.
But if we can get that one done and get 200 to 300 people downtown, I think it'll start investment in the other.
Absolutely.
That's
I
what
do
I'm
too.
counting on.
I do too. But, so thank you for that. And also thanks, I see Bobby Joe is here tonight for keeping on getting all those holes from the water leaks fixed.
Yes,
I see
thank
you
you.
are making progress day by day. And so we're grateful for that and to keep that going. 'Cause
Hey, I do
sometimes
want to
they
touch on
sit a while.
11th and Walnut.
Walnut, okay?
Yeah, it's a mess. Now Thomas and I stopped at every business that is being impacted by this road detour, and reached out to them to see if there's anything the city can do, and let them know we're putting up signage and we're trying to help in any way we can. We're going to try to hold KDOT accountable to the timeline,
Okay.
but it's rough, but it has to get done. It's not asphalt, it's concrete. So it's, I think they've quoted 90 business days. And I've seen those things go way longer than that. We're going to try to press them on the timing. But when it's done, everybody will be pleased with it. And nobody likes construction while it's happening, but when it's completed, it'll last for 20, 30 years. So it's one of those necessary evils. But the city's really pushing hard, and that's a 90-10 KDOT deal. So it's a KDOT project, but we're going to apply pressure, so.
While we're on that subject, that intersection, 166 11th, where 169 comes in, we need more signage there. I was northbound. Fortunately, I was in the right-hand lane, and there was traffic, westbound traffic on 11th Street, once the light turned green, shooting between me and the barricades going down South Walnut. I'm not sure what their surprise element was when they got down there and saw what was going on, but we need more signage. It needs to
Yeah,
be
Thomas,
more definitive.
Do you have an update on that? We've been talking about that, and we've got an update, so.
And there was also people coming from the west in the right-hand lane, in that south lane heading east, that hit the intersection there. And I actually saw one car turn and start to go around that barricade, and stopped and then backed up and started and created a pretty nasty gridlock there for about a minute and a half, until they figured out they couldn't go south there.
Yep, so we are putting in additional signage. Of course, anytime you do a detour on the highway, you got to get people to actually pay attention to use that detour. The unfortunate circumstances that we have there is with that underpass, everything gets compressed as far as advanced warnings. So what we are doing is we are actually going to mirror everything that was put up on the north side of the road, on the south side of the road, which means it doesn't matter which lane you're in, you will be able to see the detour routes. We are also putting up a very large 4x8 sign at the intersection that's facing what would be 166 westbound / 169 south. It will face that traffic, 4x8 sheet that says detour south, 169 south, road closed, detour, Willow Street, with an arrow pointing, go straight. We are also having, PD has had patrol officers down there on several occasions to try to get people to follow what they're supposed to. Unfortunately, right now, we actually have the road fully closed at 11th and Walnut because we kept having 18-wheelers and everything else just blow through it. So we actually had to close it which impacts additional businesses that should have a staggered barricade through, road closed through there. But because people weren't following that detour route signage, causing problems, we had to close it down. We're hoping once these other signs come in, we can reestablish that. That'll help those businesses right there before the project starts. As well as we also, don't know why, but KDOT didn't get the project put on their travel site. So the detours were not put in place for everybody's GPSs. That has been fixed. So now if you try to go from Coffeyville to Tulsa, it will take you the detour route. If you try to go from Tulsa to Coffeyville, they stay on the highway. So we have the detour routes fixed on those as well now. So that was another issue that was causing problems, because largely the people that were doing that they're following GPS. They don't know where they're going other than wherever Siri or whatever Google's person is called directions. So.
And so Bobby Joe, were you involved in filling that trench, I'll call it, down there, that people were hitting and was causing some trouble down there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
It's an ongoing process.
I wanted to personally thank you for that. I thought I blew out 2 tires when I hit that thing. And by the time I got home, my phone and social media was blowing up about that topic. And I understand our city manager got on it, and you took action and got it taken care of real quick.
It's holding up at the moment. The problem and part of the project is going to involve, what's the drainage?
Yeah, so we're putting in under drainage. All through there is springs water, and it's just producing water.
So in the hole that you're referencing, it stays full of water. So we've started adding dry concrete to it.
Well, thank you very much.
It seems to be holding up all right.
Appreciate you getting the crew out there on the weekend to do that. I don't know if we had talked about this before, but I keep getting questions. In the simplest terms, what would it take to restore two-way traffic in the downtown area? Disregard parking, but just as far as two-way traffic, what would it take? How hard would it be? And how much advance knowledge, if we decide to do such a thing, would it take so that we don't wind up having head-on collisions down
Yeah,
there?
you know, I get that question a lot too, and you know, you can fix anything with money. So it just boils down to how much
That
are
one
we
just
willing to
takes three
spend?
votes.
Thomas, you've got more detail on that
Somebody
as
make a
well.
motion
So,
and two
because
people
Thomas
vote.
and I have talked about it a number of
I mean, it's
times.
literally that easy.
Yeah, well, here we go.
All right, so
Thomas
downtown.
Osborne will make comments.
So the downtown, trying to go back to two-way traffic, it is doable. Relatively easy in some ways, and then it's complicated in others. Of course, you've had years and years and years of one-way traffic. That always instigates of, oh, something's changed. You're still going one-way traffic. And it's just, we're used to what we're used to. So we're gonna have to deal with that if that's something that wants to be done and change in the future. There is plans for part of the historic downtown sales tax credit. We had the first 5 years we have grants for businesses. The last 5 years is building funds for a downtown streetscape. So that streetscape would not only be able to address the parking, but if at that time you wanted to switch back to two-way traffic, that would be a good time to do it because we're already shutting down the whole road to refix the roads, fix the crossings, all those things. So at that point, if we change it then, it would make a real good time to change those and make that change back to two-way traffic if that was so
So
chosen.
rather than trying to make a decision like this on an emotional basis, I would like to see some numbers, see some data. What would it really cost? What would be the timeline? And what would we need to do in terms of educating the public in order to
I actually have a study sitting
make
on
it
my
work?
desk from, I think, 2016 on switching it to two-way. So
We were on the commission when they did that.
We could update that.
So yeah,
couldn't
we can easily pull that and get some updates. There were several different options and
Yeah.
a lot of
Don't you have
the
to get
issues.
parking on both sides if you go two-way?
I don't think this one didn't. Now, if we do the streetscape, we could get parking.
Yeah.
This one was minimal reconstruction. There was a lot of turning radiuses that need removed and altered in order to really be able to make all the turns that you want for two-way traffic.
That could be mitigated until a streetscape project is done by just putting no right turns on some of those corners, though.
Potentially, yeah.
No, it could be done.
I think some of them were left-hand turns, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well,
It's
okay.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just depending on which ones they are.
I mean, we could
we'll
have
look at
two-way
it.
traffic downtown next month.
Yeah, we could. The biggest issue is you go in, you're gonna have to re-sign everything, make sure stop signs are both
Sure.
directions, because right now, they're not. But there's signposts there. The signposts are in really the right location already, so we're well on the way to be able to do that relatively easily.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of being able to get the turning radiuses and everything that you want to see so that you're not having issues with people jumping to curb, potentially hitting somebody on the sidewalk trying to make a right turn when they don't need to, or.
Could we get that kind of a report within, say, a month and a half, or would it take longer?
I haven't really dug into it to see exactly what all needs done, but like I said, I do have that report that we can try to get updated.
But to
And
make
I'd be
right-
more than happy to get you guys copies of that report. Just know that the dollars and cents add was.
But to make right turn lanes today, you'd have to do curb cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't just put up
Yeah.
chain signs.
You could,
gotta do curb.
you could,
yeah,
but
the
they're
curbs are too
they're very tight and they're not very, not very amenable to actually
Yeah.
making the right turn.
Which is why I said you'd need to put up some no
Yeah.
turn signs here and
You
there.
would see a lot of ramping up the ADA ramps essentially that are there. Some of them are
Yeah,
there.
that's-
So that's the other thing that can
But,
be
you
addressed.
know,
in the
it wouldn't be
streetscape is
overwhelming.
a lot of
It's
ADA.
something that's definitely doable if we think there's value to it.
Yeah.
So we can we can update that project plan and show you what it looks like.
Include a million parking lots. That's not gonna grow a town. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Commissioners? Any other comments? Staff?
I just wanted to say thank you to the electric department. The light that I that a citizen brought up to me that needed to be replaced was taken care of this week, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, one thing, if you as commissioners send me a text or an email, I mean, the city's employees are really responsive, you know, so.
Absolutely.
Anything you see, and anybody else that gets it to me, we can get action done pretty fast, so we can prioritize pretty easily, so they've done a great job at that, so.
Yep.
And I was going to take a minute and just touch on, as you all are aware, last Thursday, we had the severe weather event where we were under a tornado warning. This did develop very quickly. Unfortunately, bulk of the storm missed us, but I wanted to touch on a few things since we're heading into storm season. So a list of the public storm shelters is on the City of Coffeyville website, so coffeyville.com. I placed the graphic right on the home page, so you don't have to search for it. You go to coffeyville.com, it is right there. Storm shelter locations for Coffeyville include Community Elementary School, the Jerry Ham Early Learning Center, Field Kinley High School, First Church of God, and St. Paul's Lutheran Church. And, you know, thanks to them for, you know, letting the public use that. They're sending staff out to open those locations when the storm is going on. So we really do appreciate, you know, those storm shelters. To note, Coffeyville Regional Medical Center has not been a public storm shelter since 2020. The storm sirens had been tested the day before as part of the Kansas Severe Weather Preparedness Week. 3 of the 9 sirens had failed during the test, and CPD immediately contacted the service company. Service company will be here next Tuesday, March 19th. Not only are they going to repair the 3 sirens, but they're also going to look at all of the sirens, put together a maintenance and inspection plan to keep them working properly. It is important to note that according to the National Weather Service, the public warning signs, they're intended as an outdoor warning system. They're designed to alert people outside to get inside to safety. When you hear sirens, please do not call law enforcement to ask what is happening. Please listen to your local radio station, NOAA Weather Radio, TV, weather apps. And that also brings me to the Coffeyville Police Department. They are utilizing a new information service. It's called Genesis Emergency Management. It's software. It's designed as a multi-channel emergency notification system that provides information to users. Users will be alerted about issues that affect their safety, including weather notifications. This will ultimately replace the Nixle system that we have right now. Current Nixle subscribers were alerted through the system about the sign up for Genesis, and we will have Nixle through August 2024, so there'll be plenty, you know, of time for people to transition to the new system. You can sign up for Genesis through a link on our city website. There's a quick link on the home page. You can receive text alerts, voice messages, and emails. Signing up is very easy. You just enter your phone number, email, your address, and set up a password. Then you can go in and choose, you know, how you want to be notified. You can add additional phone numbers, additional emails, so you can essentially take care of everyone in your household, phone numbers and emails, just with signing up once. We will be pushing that information out through our social media and our website. Also, the Coffeyville Journal will be running their severe weather double feature this Saturday and next Wednesday, and I've submitted an ad in there to try to catch more people to notify. So just a little update on what happened with the severe weather and some precautions to take for the future.
All right, thank you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that the sirens are actually activated in the event of a tornado. They're actually activated remotely by the National Weather Service.
That is correct.
And in the absence of some kind of communication there is a provision to manually light those sirens off here.
That is correct, yes. The sirens that sounded Thursday were enacted by the National Weather Service, but dispatch has the capability of setting off those sirens.
All right. Dispatch at the police department.
Yeah, the police
All right.
department. And so I think the police department, fire department, they have, you know, that capability to manually set off those sirens
All right,
if need
okay.
be. But yes, they
we were
typically come from
listening to on the radio. John Leonard assumed the role of storm chaser, and he said, and I heard him say it on the air. He said it was really strange. He was hearing this roaring sound, And I called the station real quick. I told him, said he needs to move. He's directly underneath the circulation, directly underneath the tornado that's not touched down. Been there, done that. All right, thank you. Anything else?
So we had 3 sirens that failed Thursday?
Yeah, there were 3 sirens that had failed. Out of 9.
Oh, 9.
Yeah. So yeah, one they had known and were getting repaired, and then the other 2, yeah, they listed.
They sound every day at noon.
They do sound every day at noon.
So how did they fail and we not know it until a weather event?
Well, it was actually the day before when they tested them at 11.
Okay.
So they had people out for the Kansas Severe Weather Preparedness Week.
Yeah.
And, they had said when they called the service company that, we were definitely not the first call, that their list was stacking up of sirens that they had to repair.
It's
But
that
we were
time of
very
year.
thankful they could get to us so soon as of
Okay.
next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Motion is